Welcome to the Two Geeks and a Microphone podcast, your one-stop shop for television, movie, video games, comic books, book reviews, and more. Now, without further ado, here's Steven and Mike.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Two Geeks and a Microphone show. I am your host, Mr. Stephen Buster, along with our other host, Mr. Michael Shanks. Mike, say hey to everybody.
Good morning to all you geeks out there in Geekdom Land.
Tell you what, everybody.
Early morning, by the way.
It is. We are old and we are sleepy because we stayed up last night to talk about Obi-Wan Kenobi.
It was worth it.
It was worth it. It was worth it. It is spoiler filled. So if you have not watched that episode yet or listened to that episode, please make sure you see Obi-Wan Kenobi first. It is well worth it. I will say that.
I recommend Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah. So real quick, everybody, let me get some housekeeping stuff done out of the way real quick. First off, if you want to get all things Two Geeks, check out our website, twogeeksmike.com, twogeeksmike.com. I'll put that up on the website. Yep. There we go. Number two, GEEKSMIC.com. That's kind of our hub for everything. So you'll find us, talking about we've got posts we've got stuff on Ko-fi page. We've got stuff on it's directions to our Facebook page, which our Facebook page, Mike, you do an excellent job on. Thank you so much. So that's where you'll see all kinds of fun stuff there on that. And then, the next, I will say, check us out on our Ko-fi page. Ko-fi is where it's kind of like Patreon, kind of a thing. And we do that just to ask for your support. And for those that support us, we'll do different things like we've got different podcasts only that we do just for our supporters, like classic sci-fi, which we're getting ready to do another one this in a week. Pretty excited. Mike, what did we say we were doing?
Get your dirty hands off me, you damn dirty ape. Planet of the Apes, the original, the best.
The classic.
With Charles.
Yep. So we have other things that we're working on, but we appreciate the support. It really, all that money just goes to pay to do the podcast. That's it. So we aren't paying for Mike's Lamborghini. I say that all the time.
Or Batmobile.
Or Batmobile. Oh, I like that better. We're paying for his Batmobile. That's pretty good. Also, if you want to contact us, ask us questions or anything, that is show@twogeeksmike.com. Show@twogeeksmike.com. So, all right. Well, with that, Mike, what are we doing today? What's our topic today? And also, well, I'll just let you talk all about it. Go for it.
Well, we are bringing back a long-awaited guest. We haven't had him on almost all this year because we had technical difficulties the last time we tried to bring him on. So hopefully everything goes good today.
Right.
But we are bringing back Tharen Too Cool Lowery to discuss some Miles Morales Spider-Man with us.
Let's bring him in. Tharen, you are on.
Back to the show, buddy. Uh-oh.
We're wondering if he hears us.
Yep. Oh no. Okay.
That's all right. Let's see if he hears us. And Tharen, you hearing us?
I do now. Yes.
There we go. Awesome.
Oh no! What is happening? Okay.
Right.
It's coming in and out. There we go.
Okay. Woo.
You look good to us. So
you're looking good. So yeah.
Well, Tharen, you're always looking good.
Okay, so it says, oops, seems like there is a connection issue of some sort, and then it keeps going in. Now I'm starting to get, I was 4 bars all that time, and now I'm dipping down to low and
so you're having interconnectivity issues. That happens to me all the time.
Yeah. Me too.
It
looks
Mike,
Go ahead.
Well, while we're checking in on Tharen and seeing about his connectivity, what's our topic today, Mr. Mike?
So we were going to talk about some Miles Morales Spider-Man and the introduction to Venom into the Miles Morales universe. So I had seen an article a couple months ago, and unfortunately I don't have that article handy to quote it, and to tell who it was. But it said that Venom had been introduced into Miles Morales' Spider-Man universe, and I was really excited because Venom's one of my favorite characters, and I was really like, oh yeah, I want to see a Venom version in Miles's Spider-Man universe. And I read the issue that they suggested. Well, it's not really Venom. Don't get me wrong, I like the character. The character's good, and I love his look. His look is amazing.
Okay.
Because he almost has that classic webhead Spider-Man look to it, and but it's black and red instead of the traditional red and blue, and it's almost like this big red V over the top of it. It's really super looking costume. I love it. Like Theron's having some connectivity issues still. How come when we go live, Theron has problems?
Well, he's not the only one. I've had problems too. So I don't know. It's kind of funny how that happens.
I don't know.
So we are talking Spider-Man, but Miles Morales Spider-Man.
I love it.
Oh gosh. I will say my first introduction to Miles Morales was well, I knew of Miles Morales being Spider-Man.
Right.
And I always loved the idea. And then there was the Spider-Man video game that came out a couple of years ago. And then they added Miles Morales. They did like a I won't say a new a new level or anything, because they almost created a whole new game using that engine, but it was all about Miles Morales. And I'm like, this is so cool. And I didn't realize he has different powers than Peter Parker, and I want to discuss that a little bit. But then
I'd like to, because I don't really know what all his powers are. So
yeah, they introduced. So I don't know if it's canon or not, but he has this electro something or another. I can't. It's not electro.
What is it there?
It's called Bioshock.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, so it's really cool. And then there was into this.
Like, I want to chime in, but the network issues are cutting in and out, and I can only hear so much, and then I can respond to it.
No.
We were doing so good. There's this right. We sat there and practiced, or not practice, but we sat and talked for about half an hour. I was having connectivity issues.
Speak out of turn.
That's okay. We'll adjust. I tell you what we'll do is we'll end up saying, Tharen, go.
And then we'll try it that way.
I'm 4 bars right now, so I'm really good at as far as connection issue. It's only when Mike is talking that's when it cuts in and out. No offense. I can hear Steve perfectly fine. I don't know, something about Mike. It's just something. It just cuts out.
You hear that? There, you told me to shut up.
That was not a direct. It was like, let me talk. No,
that's awesome, man.
That's funny. That is funny. I love it. So then the next iteration of Miles Morales that I got to see was on the big screen, Into the Spider-Verse.
That's where I got introduced to him.
I absolutely adored it. I love it. And I'm so excited for the new movie coming out soon. And so I thought it was, I think it's fantastic. So, all right. Well, so Mike, where should we start? What's our, tell me about this article that there is a Venom in the Miles Morales universe. Tharen, is that how you understand it? Oh, I guess he cut out.
Me? It's on me now?
Yeah.
I could.
Yeah, go Tharen.
No,
Miles
why does it keep
Morales.
doing
There's
that?
a
It
Venom
keeps,
in the Miles
like
Morales
I'll
universe.
look for there we go, cues, and then all of a sudden it cuts in and out when it's on me. It's funny.
Here, let's try this.
This is not good.
Tell us
you
about.
sent him
Yeah,
a message.
yeah. I'm going to send him a message. Tell us about Venom in the Miles Morales universe, please. So hopefully that'll
Oh,
pop
okay.
up.
Yes. Okay. So this was pretty much around the start of Miles Morales. This is when, as we already know, that Spider-Man was the original Spider-Man in his universe before, Miles became the Spider-Man when his uncle basically stole a lot of stuff from Oscorp and ended up getting one of the spiders that was stowed away in one of the bags. Miles went over his uncle house, which is known as a prowler. His uncle he was like a known thief and everything in that nature. So it's plays right into the Spider-Verse and everything in that nature, and a little bit different from the movie, but in the same similar context or whatnot, that he did get bit by a radioactive spider, and for the most part. Miles ended up becoming, the Spider-Man of that universe in itself. After Peter Parker dies, and a whole bunch of other instances where it's like, okay, he's trying to develop who he is as a particular Spider-Man. Actually, Miles didn't really want to become Spider-Man because it was just too much on him to endure. So eventually, he got a little bit of assistance from like Captain America, teaching them how to become like a better crime fighter.
I
You
didn't know
have
that.
Miss.
Me neither.
Yeah, you had Spider Woman, who was basically she was basically there to assist him as well, trying to develop who he is as a standalone character. Because at one point we already seen in the movies that hey, Miles became his own. He's becoming the Spider-Man because after Peter Parker died by Norman Osborn and stuff like that, and he took over the red and blue suit. That it was in bad taste for him to have that costume, so therefore he had to make it his own. That was the reason why he has the red and black suit. It wasn't because I wanted to be, I wanted to stand out a little bit differently when it comes down to that. Plus, he has no instinctively crime fighting abilities. No, remember that Peter Parker has to learn everything on the fly,
right,
as well too. And when he had his power, it depends on the foe he goes up against. Okay. So in Miles, in a sense, he doesn't have any like a rogue gallery or anything that nature that's off the top big. So the first person that he ended up coming across was who was it? It was Kangaroo Man. There we go. Kangaroo Man was his first like nemesis or whatnot in the actual like in the start of Miles getting used to his powers. And some of his abilities that he kind of learned and evolved over time was his Venom Bite. That was another standalone thing that Miles has, is that he has a bioelectric discharge inside of him that can render people, paralyzed for a little while.
That is so
that's
cool.
one of his. Yeah, so he's a new character. Don't get me wrong, and he has a lot of abilities that he don't even know that he can actually do. Like he can send a bio shock wave out of his body, but it's not on command. He can't do it on command. It's more instinctively. Another thing is that his spider sense is a little bit more acutely aware or sensitive than a lot of the other Spider-Mans. I think you kind of saw a little bit of that in the Into the Spider-Verse. So that was another differential way you can say that this Spider-Man Miles is different from that. On top of that, too, the biggest thing that everybody probably already seen, that he can camouflage. He's a different Spider-Man on his own when it comes to that accord. His camouflage ability.
He can almost become invisible. Actually, he
yes.
has like some kind of.
It's a refract. Yeah, and it just doesn't goes on his skin. It actually applies to his whole entire suit, so it can take a matter that's not a part of him and it make that translucent in a sense, where it becomes like invisible to the naked eye.
That's a pretty cool power. I like that. Neat.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you want me to stop right here, or you want me to chime in? Because I was getting to the part where Venom comes into play.
Oh, okay.
No, that's
go
yeah.
ahead. Go ahead.
That's our discussion point. Great intro on Miles Morales, by the way. Thank you, because I love the character. I love the character, and that was good.
Okay.
That was a good summation.
So in this instance, in this instance, Venom does come into. I know that we were talking about the fact that. Okay, so we talked about Kangaroo Man. He kind of went up against Kangaroo Man, beat Kangaroo Man, and everything of that nature. And then Venom basically was another character that Miles had to go up with. That's kind of like the second kind of big character Miles has to go up against and stuff like that. And then at one point, I don't want to spoil a lot of it because that feeds into the Spider-Verse story arc. And this thing's and if you're a big Spider-Man fan, that you'll really love the Spider-Verse story arc. The movie kind of plays a little bit on it. Hopefully, the second movie kind of ties a lot of the parts that the first movie kind of left out. But that's Miles got his footing in the Spider-Verse and everything in that nature. So, but going back to Venom, Venom came into the fray, and he started to beat up Miles pretty bad. Like, he was whooping on him pretty bad. And it was at one point that Miles' mother, she didn't know that he was actually the Spider-Man of that universe at the time and stuff like that, because Miles was pretty much trying to keep that a wrap from his family because of the particular disdain that the father had towards Spider-Man. He didn't like superheroes taking over police work anyway. So that was kind of another part that we already kind of picked up on when we looked at Into the Spider-Verse. But Venom was the character that was, unlike the character in Kingpin, it was actually Venom that was actually the one that was overpowering Miles to the point, and then Miles' mother kind of got in the fray of this of the situation, and eventually Venom was about to take a chomp out of her, and that's when Miles did his bioelectric shock and basically destroyed Venom from within. And it's actually a really cool illustration of it. It's a really cool storyline that how that all transpired, but that eventually that instance killed Miles' mother, and that's when he realized that was his kind of an Uncle Ben moment, to be honest with you. And that's how Venom was introduced into Miles' story arc the first time around, even though that was the first symbiote to come across Miles the first time around, but that won't be the last iteration of it.
So now the article that I had sent you, and it describes this as Miles Morales as Venom, but it's not actually Venom. The character Shift is his name.
Yeah.
And so
it's when a clone of Venom.
What's that?
It's a clone.
Right, yeah. Now he's a clone of who? Is he a clone of Miles?
Okay, so this tends to happen in the Spider-Verse or whatnot. You will have multiple versions of, let's say, Miles and Venom, because there's all variations of the symbiotes out there, and some are
we're multiversing it.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah! We are multiversing it. Yes, exactly.
Hey, Steven, it's nice of you to join us.
Oh yes! Miles is definitely a multiversal type work there. This goes.
Sorry, Tharen, I walked over you. If you're just tuning in, Theron's having some issues connecting with us right now. Every time we go live with Tharen, we seem to lose him.
Yeah.
Here's where Steven checks out.
Yeah, Brian, Brian Ramsey just stated, here's where Steven checks out, LOL. It's so true. Oh. Hey, oh my goodness.
I don't know what happened to Tharen.
I don't know.
I don't know. Frozen now.
Yep. Hey, by the way, Brian, I'm just going to announce on air. Thanks, Brian, so much for being a part of the podcast where you guys talked Doctor Who. it has already become our #1 podcast over the last couple of months.
Yeah.
So it's very exciting stuff. So and I enjoyed it, but I just want to say kudos to you and to Zig from Nerdery and Murdery. You guys made that a great episode.
Definitely.
So yeah, thank you so much for joining us. So
while we're trying to figure out Theron's issues here, I'm going to go back into that article a little bit. So
yeah.
the article stated it was Miles's Venom, and which got me super excited. And so it was issue number 33 of the Miles Morales Spider-Man that was this character was introduced, or as far as I know, he was introduced there. It turns out his name is actually Shift, and like Tharen said, he's a clone, but Tharen was getting ready to explain to us who he's exactly a clone of, because I'm not 100% who he's a clone of. But it goes into this whole storyline, and of course, I know nothing about the whole clone Spider-Man storyline, because apparently there's a Peter Parker storyline with all these clones and all this stuff, and there's a clone Spider-Man who became the I don't know. They had a special name for the other Spider-Man. Oh, looks like Theron's back.
All right.
You gonna bring
him,
Steven?
Oh yeah. I'll bring him in. I got it.
Yeah.
Nope. Okay, sorry.
You there, Tharen?
We can't hear you, Tharen.
Oh, there
he is. Now he's back.
Delayed.
He's just delayed.
Oh, there we go.
Wait. Yeah.
I think we got you live now. Oh man. So I was just kind of explaining Shift to everyone, Tharen. So Shift is a clone, but we don't really understand who he's a clone of.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Okay.
All right, let me do this. We can hear you. Here, I'll put this in the chat.
Okay.
We can hear you. Tell us about the clone Spider-Man and Venom.
Well, Shift.
Oh yeah, Shift.
Oh, okay. So that one, we get into the fact that Spider-Man has been cloned a couple of times, in a sense. Like you have Scarlet Spider.
That's the one I was trying
to. Which one?
Scarlet
Spider.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, so he tends to be an iteration of a clone version of that. I can't think of because it was that was like a cram read of just me going and trying to get through all these issues right off the bat. But there is it's a clone version of Miles that is the Venom symbiote hybrid or whatnot. Ooh. But for the most part, that's just a small iteration of it, because you got to think about it. There's like multiple different versions of like not just one Spider-Man. It's just like a Peter Parker. There's different iterations of Spider-Man when you get into the multiverse of when you get into the Spider-Verse of everyone at that particular point. And then speaking of the Spider-Verse, that's when all the Spider-Man, I don't know if anybody is like a big Spider-Man fan, but if that's the case, if you really want to get into a good, nosedive into it, check out the Spider-Verse story arc and everything of that nature, because that's when all of the Spider-Mans end up being killed off by this vampirist, like I think it's Khan or Corn or something like that. That's basically going through first and it's basically taking the codex or the essence of Spider-Man, because they're like plentiful in the sense. And he's going through, and that's how all these Spider-Mans and the multiverse team up. And hopefully, I'm speculating, hopefully that's where the Into the Spider-Verse is going to go into.
Gotcha. Got ya. So, but tell us about Shift. What do you know about Shift? Did we lose him?
We may have.
Oh gosh.
How interesting. We did great for half an hour.
I don't get it.
And then we
oh my gosh. And then all of a sudden we go live and everything just
he's We've got a red bar on him, so he must be still having connectivity issues and stuff. So, you gotta love the internet, everybody. I'm sure you can sympathize with us.
So I started reading issue 33 and 34. This storyline
Of 33
uh,
and 34 of
the Miles Morales Spider-Man,
okay.
and this particular storyline goes through I think issue 37, but unfortunately 34 and 35 are the only ones available on the Marvel Unlimited app at the moment. I mean, available to read on the app at the moment.
Mhm.
But so that
this is a fairly new storyline.
yeah, it came out in January.
Okay.
33 came out in January, 34 was in February. So 35,
Okay.
6, and 7 are not
That
available.
sounds about right. They wait any new stuff, it's about 3 months.
Yeah, I think you're right. So
Mhm.
so maybe we should have waited to do this episode a few months. But I mean, I was excited because I really like Venom, and I was excited that Miles was getting his own Venom, according to that article. And
Mhm.
then I read
Mhm.
this, and I'm like, well, this guy's not Venom, but he has some
It's still a
similar.
symbiote though.
Well, I don't think he is a symbiote. I see. That's what I was
Oh.
trying to get Tharen to explain to us.
Oh, so he's probably a clone hybrid is what he's saying. So he's
Right.
clone of a
I
symbiote, but really more of a clone of Miles Morales together?
I guess.
Ooh, that sounds interesting.
So yeah, some kind of hybrid clone of Miles Morales and Venom, because he can
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
shape shift a little bit. Like he grows these extra arms. I mean, he's this massive looking dude. Okay, um,
Okay.
huge muscles and everything. He's a big looking dude.
Well, he's got some muscles.
Yeah, he's got
Okay.
but then he grows these smaller arms underneath his arms at times when he needs them. And yeah,
Weird.
it's kind of funky looking in the comic,
Right.
but it's pretty.
Right.
It's cool and all. So I mean, he has some aspects to Venom there, and he has the urge to kill. That's for sure. Because he picks up one dude by his head, and, and he's gonna kill the guy, and Miles is like, no, 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 calm down, put him down, and
Uh-huh.
talks him down and stuff, and Miles talks him out of killing him. So I think he can be controlled a little more than Venom can, because
Well, yeah, ain't nobody controlling Venom.
no, I mean Eddie Brock does to a certain extent, but that's because
Sort of.
they're combined.
Yeah, that symbiotic
Right,
relationship.
symbiotic relationship. But now the funny thing also about Shift can't talk. Because he's some kind of clone that didn't
Oh.
quite work right.
Oh.
So he doesn't talk. The only thing he says is glurb.
Glurb. Okay. Such a technical term, glurb.
Great comic book word there, glurb. That's how he responds to everything. Glurb.
Glurb. So Brenda's asking who's the host for Shift. I guess
See,
it's a
that
hybrid, so it's not really it's a clone of both this Venom type symbiote, but then also Miles Morales.
I guess I don't know. See, they didn't
Oh.
really give his origin in issue 33, so I
Oh, okay.
didn't research enough to find out actually what his origin is, or if they've even really given it. I'm assuming they did because it sounded like Theron did some research to get the origin
Mhm.
and such. So, which is why I was really looking forward to having Theron back on
Right?
because I know Theron knows so much more about Miles Morales than I do and about his
Right.
universe. So, yeah,
Yeah.
looking forward to that. But yeah, Shift was pretty interesting. I liked him. I just don't like him um as much as I do Venom. And no, I don't have the book yet. My wife asked, You don't you have the book? Not that book."
Right. Yep.
Uh,
All right.
there he is. You back?
Theron, do you hear
Ah,
us?
I do hear you now. Yes,
All right.
it cut out and went black all the way through. All right.
Well, now we hear you like in real time too.
Yeah, you sound great. I don't hear a delay in the audio.
Okay.
So we were just talking about Shift and exactly who he is, because we're a little confused on who he was cloned from. Because we know that he's a clone, but I don't quite understand who he's a clone of. Is he a clone of Miles? Is he a clone of Venom? And how do they clone Venom?
How they clone Venom? Well, Venom is just a symbiote. He clones himself. That's how you
Oh,
end up getting Carnage, and you get
right.
and Carnage end up. It depends on the host that they take up on, and that's pretty much what the most. And it all depends on the acceptance too. Well, I mean, and Venom actually take over female at one point that
Right.
Eddie was actually one of the Eddie's love interests and stuff like that, and ended up
Right.
having a son, Dylan. But anyways, it just depends. The symbionts are a species of itself that tends to thrive off of strong versus the weak. So eventually, in this instance of Miles, the person who basically, or the clone that basically took over for that character, he's only taking on the responsibility or the essence of the wearer. Just like how you have dark suit Spider-Man. He can choose to be a good person with his, or an evil person with his powers. The same thing with the person who's basically taking over the suit as Venom, Miles Venom.
But Shift is Shift from Venom?
Shift is another symbiote. They have, it's.
So he is a symbiote then. Uh-oh. Every time we get into this, it goes. I think Shift doesn't want us to talk about him.
Right.
Every time we start talking about Shift, Tharen gets kicked out.
That's right.
Shift doesn't like us talking about him.
Oh gosh.
Come on, Shift. We want to give you some love, man.
Right. There he is.
Oh,
that's
so
funny.
weird, Tharen.
Let's see.
One moment.
Oh yeah, sure. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh. So funny. Tharen was beamed black, apparently.
Right. That's all right. He can still hear us, and I think we can still hear him.
Tharen, you there?
He did say one moment.
I can barely hear him now.
Oh, I don't hear him at all.
And all. Okay. So, well, I think the aspect with Venom, I guess I'm hearing it is Venoms can have offspring more than clones, I guess is.
Well, yeah,
but,
we knew that though, because I mean that's where you get Carnage, and there's
my favorite part in the Carnage movie was, oh, that's a red one.
Yeah, I love that one. Red ones are bad. Yeah, I enjoyed that part.
Yeah, there were some enjoyable parts in the movie.
No matter what Mark from Three Geeky Dads thinks, I enjoyed that one. Because he doesn't like the Venom movies at all.
Oh, they're fun. They're fun
I
movies.
thought they were fun too. I enjoyed them. Yeah. I liked them. And
I do think though sometimes especially with Spider-Man, Spider-Man is such a beloved character, and even Miles Morales, and this whole Spider-Man universe. I guess I should say multiverse. I reckon, but the
say it.
The thing is,
it's okay. You can say it. A multiverse.
Multiverse.
Welcome to Steven's therapy session.
Right. Thank you, everybody. We're getting there. I don't think there's been one episode we haven't mentioned multiverse in a while. or well, we did say it last night in our Kenobi one. So, my point being is, such a beloved character. We read the book. We read the books and we create our own headcanon, for lack of a better term. And then when we see it on the screen, we're like, well, that's not my headcanon kind of a thing. And I think that's what we do sometimes. But artistically, if it's not a bad movie. Either one of them aren't bad, but they are fun. They're great. They're great popcorn munching films. I'll tell you that.
Well, the funny thing is I'm a Venom fan from way back. I followed Venom when his comic book first came out. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I was a
Mm-hmm.
huge fan of the Lethal Protector, because
Mm-hmm.
that's what he was called back in the
Do
90s.
you have the original comics on that?
Let's not talk about that. I don't know. I don't know where a lot of my original comics went to, and I'm really, really ticked about it. But yeah, I had all the original first couple of years of that run.
It started off as a special edition, right?
Oh heck yeah, and they had like 100 different covers, and they had the black cover, the silver color, the gold cover.
I had the shiny cover. There's a shiny cover.
I had a bunch of them. I had a whole bunch of them.
Oh
Yeah, I was the sucker that bought into all that. Now some of those are worth some bucks too.
Oh, really?
Some of them are. I mean,
How would I find out how much some of those are nowadays?
just go online and search. I mean, yeah, you can search for comic values online.
Can you? Okay.
Yeah. Or hit Mark up from Three Geeky Dads. He'll let you know.
There we go.
You back?
And I'm back.
Aaron?
And he's back.
Yes. It
So
was funny because I took out the video and that's what kept the stream going. I heard you guys, but I had to mute it for a second because I had to deal with something.
Sure.
But
Now
for the most part,
now everything's looking good.
Looks
yeah,
real
now
good.
everything is looking good. Yeah,
I don't know what you did, but keep doing it.
I don't. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Brian says, I have a copy of Secret Wars 8, which is the first appearance of the black suit.
Yeah.
Guess what? So do I.
Do you really?
Wait, I know I used to. I did sell some. Like I had the first issue of Bane, the one shot of Bane, but I sold it. But man, I got a pretty penny for it. I got at the time I got like $30 for it.
Dude, I had all the Spawn issues. I had,
I know because you and I switched. We trade. I had Spawn. No. Wait. Did I have Spawn?
No, I had Legends of the Dark Knight, and you wanted one of the Legends of the Dark Knight that you couldn't find, and you had Spawn, and we traded.
We did. That's right. I had Spawn, some of the first issues of Spawn or something like that. Yeah.
I was a huge Spawn fan back then.
Yeah, and I was like, it's okay, but I love me some Batman.
You and I have some difference in comic book characters.
So you want to know who looked like Spawn? If you want to get into like Miles' story arc, let's check out when Miles becomes Venom and Carnage at the same time in Dark Ages.
Whoa! Wait a minute. Miles becomes Venom and Carnage.
Oh, yes, there is a hybrid of Venom and that's what I'm saying. That's why I was like, Mike, are we on the same page when you give me the assignments? Because I don't think so. I don't think you realize what you be giving me, what you get me into half the time. Because I'll be like, okay, so this isn't the first instance that Venom actually appeared.
Well, see, this is why we want you on the show, because I didn't know, and I know you know much more than I.
Did you know that did you know that there was a Carnage Miles there, that when Carnage took over Miles's body and he became Unstoppable? No, it's not Unstoppable. The Ultimate Carnage, I think that's what it is. It's the Issues of Ultimate Carnage series where Carnage was basically he spawned an army, and Miles went to go fight him and ended up getting overtaken because he just wasn't used to. The red ones are bad in a sense too, by the way. Don't do that. But yeah, Miles ended up getting taken over by Carnage at one point, and it was pretty interesting when it comes to that. But yes, I think that the Spawn iteration of Venom, Carnage, Miles, it started off in a Dark Age. Now, if you haven't read any of the Dark Ages, Marvel's Dark Ages series, it actually is a really good series.
Now, Dark Ages, is that what? Is that like Avengers? Is that who is that?
I haven't read any of that. What's all that about?
So, okay, not to spoil anything, but this is what happened. This is when the let's see, how can I summarize this in a way where it's not going to spoil anything, but then again, at the same time, it's going to pretty much
Don't worry about
entice you to, yeah, it's going to
Yeah,
entice you to. Basically, the Dark Ages is when all the electromagnetism get knocked out in the world based off of an event that Stephen Strange was trying to stop. One of the it kind of reminded me of like a mini celestial in the core of the Earth. And what happened was, I can't think of the name of it right about now, but it itself ended up becoming way too powerful for, like, you know, a lot of the early fighters and stuff like that. So what happened was that Apocalypse was trying to harness its power. So he took all of the greatest minds and he was trying to restore the electricity, or restore electricity in like some type of Faraday cage or whatnot. And he had his assassins. He had all these people that he had in his court, that's trying to, that was like basically hitman. So in a sense, Miles Venom was one of those. I'm sorry, Carnage Venom was one of those instances where Miles was taken over and was working for Apocalypse at the time. So therefore, he can assassinate. I think it was like a Honey Badger or She Wolverine or something like that, one of the two. And it was a really interesting tie-in to how his character was, and his character actually let the with the Ultimates or whatnot, let them know like, hey, what was happening, because they end up taking over Iron Man, because Iron Man, he, like I said, Apocalypse took over all the smartest minds in the world. So he had like Reed Richards, he had Tony Stark, he had Shuri, everybody that was basically the smartest minds, at the time, and he was having them to restore electromagnetism in the world by capturing a certain person that produces electromagnetism in order for him to harness said power.
Magneto.
And on top of, I don't know. I don't know who this person is. I don't know. And that was like one of the most beast scenes. That's yes, it was Magneto. Yes, okay. I don't want to, because the Dark Ages is actually really good and still ongoing. But at one point, I'm just gonna throw my boy, give him a tip of the hat. Iron Man becomes a god. How many times did Batman actually end up becoming a god, other than when he was sitting in the Morbius chair?
This kind of sounds like DC's metal event, because DC, that's where the Batman Who Laughs comes from, is from their whole metal event too. So I'm wondering if this is around the same time that both Marvel and DC did these storylines.
Yeah, but this is actually it's pretty interesting. But this one, they put everything in a Dark Age. So obviously, when all of the power went out and stuff like that, they gave rise to a lot of the Night Stalkers. So you have a lot of the you had like Dracula, you had all the vampiric, you had all the beasts in the world that's basically, they're roaming now. So this is Blade's time to shine. So Blade basically comes into play and basically was just like, okay, cool. So I got a whole world that I have to protect because, hey, they become rampant. So you have a lot of vampires and so on and so forth that basically spawn out of the Dark Ages as well too. Dracula being said one of them. And essentially, Miles, he ended up being overtaken or whatnot, but for the most part, the suit itself is a hybrid of Venom and Carnage, which I thought was really cool. So that was another thing that was there. But yes, so Let There Be Carnage is another one where Miles actually became a part of Carnage itself.
Oh wow! Okay, so Miles was in that event too.
Yes.
So where does Miles first encounter the symbiote then? What would be the first storyline that you know of that Miles actually encounters the symbiote?
That would be the one when he encountered Venom for the first time and he defeated Venom. Yeah.
Okay, so what storyline is that?
That was the introduction to Miles. So his first,
Oh, so
yeah,
we're
that was
talking
during the
all the
first
way at the
story arc.
beginning.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, no.
This was like I said, that situation when that iteration with
Shift.
my not Shift, but then again when Miles fight Kingpin and Into the Spider Verse, that's not supposed to be Kingpin. That's supposed to be Venom in that instance.
Uh,
That's what they switched out of the movies and everything. But in the comics, he actually goes up against Venom that for the first time. A very beefy version of that universe's Venom. So
oh,
that's
wow.
how that came across. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, so I need to go back and reread, or well,
Yeah.
read. I haven't read them yet.
So,
The beginning of Miles. Then,
yeah,
okay,
it took a while for Miles because we were wondering whether if Miles actually become get be one of the hosts
yeah,
to and stuff like that,
like
and it
Parker
would have
did
been
for a
cool.
short time.
Yes, like Parker did for a short time, but it never occurred. And at one point, that you know, Venom engulfed Miles to try to take him over, but Miles resisted, and he did his shockwave, his Bioshock, and it basically blasted Venom off. And to be honest with you, that
Ooh, that
his
makes
ability is
sense too.
actually is a
That makes a
deterrent
lot of
for it.
sense that
Mhm.
that would blow off the symbiote off of him because it goes by sound waves and stuff that
Yeah.
affect the symbiote and yeah, in an
Well,
adverse way.
yes. So that's another way how he ended up getting the symbiotes, the symbiote of Carnage off him as well. He did that to break free of that bond. But for the most part, it is pretty interesting his character of it itself that Miles
Now
he
Steve,
tends to.
okay,
Hmm?
Oh no
Steve,
no no
away for a second there.
no! I just turned off my video screen for a moment. I'm still here.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Okay, I thought, oh great, now we're having connectivity problems. Oh my
Right.
god.
Yes.
Sorry, Tharen. Sorry.
No, no, it's all good. But I mean, I think that since we've seen the episode, I mean, the series of where we was like, all right, well, we talked about the fact that, all right, how did Miles become Venom and stuff like that? I don't think really it can really attach to him in order to absorb. That has to be, it's a clone of Miles that is a hybrid of the Venom Miles character, but it's not
Okay,
really a part of him. It can't really stick to him because he will repel it. And that's one of the
so
things about Miles. Miles
is it
doesn't want to be.
is
Huh?
that how we get to Shift then? Because
Yeah,
is Shift a clone of Miles then?
it's probably a alternate universe. A multiverse version of that because they go into different multiverses to pull. No, it's not a clone. It's the person of that multiverse, and I can't think of
Okay.
the number of that the Earth that they're on, but that's how they're able to pull someone in
Oh,
from that.
okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
Like
Well,
and another thing
and
too.
there's this whole corporation thing involved with these issues too, because like the corporation apparently owns the right. I don't understand this at all, but something
What's that?
about they own the rights to the Spider-Man name, and they're going to sue Miles over. I thought that was silly.
Oh well, that tends to happen a lot. I mean, that happens with like a lot of. I mean, that Tony deals with that all the time. You know, does his property technically own? I mean, it belongs to him, or is it just basically another foreign entity that the government has to regulate? You know,
Oh my
that's
god!
the reason why Cap is the way he is right about now because he doesn't like the aspect of being tied down to any one world government. He likes to go wherever
Right,
it's needed. Same
right.
thing with Wakandans. Wakandans feel like, hey, a lot of things that tends to occur on the outside world, that's not our problem. So therefore, we have to stay insulated. That is not a big secret to me when it comes down to, hey, this new Spider-Man, he's still rough around the edges. Let's get him under our, thumb to give him a paycheck and say he works for us.
Well, see, I just didn't understand the whole Spider-Man's about to get sued by some company. I was like, what? How does a company own the rights to Spider-Man's name? But then that also plays into this whole clone factor. And like I was saying earlier, I know there was a clone storyline in the Peter Parker series years ago, but I never read it, and because I heard it wasn't
it's
great.
plenty. It wasn't. That's how Scarlet Spider came to be, but it's plenty
Right.
of clones
That's what a coworker of ours was telling me the other day, that's how Scarlet Spider came to be about, which I had no clue. I didn't know anything about that. And that, to me, that's the only aspect of that storyline that sounds interesting, that we got a new Spider-Man out of it. But this whole corporation owns the rights is just weird to me.
That's almost like on Amazon, the Boys series.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I've only watched a little bit of The Boys because I didn't get into it that much. But yeah, you're right. It's almost like a corporation owns them and kind of controls what they do.
Mhm.
So, I mean, because they engineered the sauce that made them, so that's why.
Right.
There is no engineering. Well, I guess if you're going to say that, I mean, technically the spider that was a part of Oscorp was Oscorp property, which in turn, that since Miles was bit by, a property based off of Oscorp, that he belongs to Oscorp.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
I'm just saying.
Wow.
Is that really? That's not technically his. I mean, it's the same thing with Peter Parker. It's just like,
they didn't really go there, did they? Oh my god!
Let it be known, man. I'm telling you. If you look at it, I mean, if you think about it, they have a point. If you look at it that way, but I don't want to give nobody no ideas. I'm just saying.
Wow.
I'm just saying.
Tharen, you blew my mind. Oh my gosh. So wait a minute, is that how he came about? He got bit by a Oscorp spider? I mean, I know that's the way Amazing Spider-Man happens in the Amazing Spider-Man series, movie series. Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. Because he's visiting. They're visiting Oscorp for like a high school trip or something like that, and he gets bit by it's not radioactive because they've changed that.
No, it's been engineered by the Oz core serum, the same thing that basically made Green Goblin the way he is. It's a modification of that, and that's how Spider-Man really got his. I mean, if that's what the spider is, that basically bites Spider-Man to give him the ability. It's a strain of the Osborn corporation's genetics. That's what also.
So they're saying because Miles was bitten by a Oscorp owned spider,
right? Because we already know what happened to Norman Osborn.
That they essentially
way too much of it.
But that they essentially own him. Is that what we're saying here?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! I can't believe they went there.
Wow. That's copyright infringement, man. That's copyright infringement. You can't go out there.
Well, that goes deeper than that, dude. That goes deeper than that. Oh my god!
But I mean, in that instance, yes, that's in and of itself. I know it sounds silly, but at the same time, it's just like, well, if you pick a brand and something like that, and you want to go out and be doing crime fighting type of stuff, you're representing that brand, even though that you're being a do-gooder, and that brand may not like the optics, but then again, they're taking part of said notoriety. So it's just maybe what it is. That's why you wear Nike, right?
Yes.
Well, I wear my Under Armour.
Right.
Not sponsored.
Well, my Cardinals. I get my Cardinals on.
It's my Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones.
Or here you go. 2 geeks and a microphone.
2 geeks and a mic. 2 geeks and a mic.
Nice.
Subscribe, comment, like. There we go. Where's my thing? There we go.
Well, okay. Now I understand that.
I want this video to get. Yes. Yeah. So it's a pretty interesting dynamic. Okay, so that's just a one-off when it comes down to, Miles as being inside that said universe and stuff like that.
Yeah. See, Peter Parker never had to deal with that whole copyright.
That's not true. That ain't true at all. Peter
really?
had to deal with a lot of stuff, especially working for J.J. Jameson. Oh my God, that man played him through heck all the time, just heck all the time. It's in the Amazing Spider-Man series, J.J. was not a nice guy.
Well, I know that. JJ's not a nice guy.
But then again, you gotta think about it. Spider-Man, in that sense, he was a kid, trying to make his way and trying to prove himself in the world, trying to be sustainable and everything. And then you obviously had this grown man, get child labor laws right off the bat. I'm just like, go out there and make some money and make sure the pictures look good.
Oh my god!
All right, sir,
Right.
I'll do it, sir. Whatever, sir. You make them look good. These pictures are horrible.
That's
So worst
hilarious.
motivational.
Oh my gosh. So okay, there. So anyone like wanting to know more about Miles and the whole Miles Venom
Yeah.
story arc, you're telling them to just start with the beginning of the Miles Morales Spider-Man then.
Yeah, so you want to do, Miles issue 1. So that's, I can think of the first issue it's not issue 1, but then again, you want to start with Miles' story arc, and then if you want to really get a good nosedive into a lot of the his instances, because he comes about a little bit every so often when it comes to the other. He gets called to aid when it comes down to like Civil War and everything in that nature. He's not really much of a big tie into it. He is a part of the Ultimate, which is the people from Ultimate Universes coming in and forming their own group. Ultimate stuff like. Anyways, so anyways, you got that aspect. You get into, if you want to get his standalone editions when he goes up against like. Let There Be Carnage, or just Carnage itself. I can't think of it right off the bat, but it's like when Carnage just goes crazy. That was a good tie-in. The multiverse, obviously, I'm sorry, not the multiverse. It's Spider-Verse. It's the Into the Spider-Verse. That was a good one spot.
See, I didn't realize that was
not the
actually,
movie, the comics. The comics,
right.
I
didn't realize that was actually a storyline.
Same
I thought
here.
they just came up with that for the movies. So yeah, I'll have to dive into the Spider-Verse because I'm sure that's on Marvel.
Spider-Verse is really good.
And then I think I'll dive into Let There Be Carnage too, because I mean I love Carnage anyway. Carnage is a fantastic character, no matter what Steven over there tells you.
So all right, Mike. So that was another thing too I wanted to bring up as well, is that how there is a Venom and then there is a anti-Venom. So anti-Venom, so he's the antithesis of the regular Venom. Actually, he became an offshoot because he got taken over by, I guess, I can't think of the guy's name right about now. It's like Kyle something. I won't say Kyle Brunner. Never mind. Anyways, the fact of the matter is the anti-Venom, he actually takes on multiple hosts as well, just like how Venom takes on Eddie Brock as multiple hosts. Takes on a different host as well. And the essence of that, the wearer, always shift. It depends on like what's their deepest desire, their intent. Hey, Venom wants to be, bloodlust and be, craven and stuff like that. It's not the Venom that's doing it. It's the person's will, their intent in order to do that. So when Miles take on that suit and stuff like that, it unleashes his full potential. But Miles is really one still in control, whether he wants to go, ham or not, and everything. So I think anti-Venom is the more powerful or potent version of Venom, and that's another episode we can talk about, is anti-Venom, because I think he's a very interesting character too. Actually, we can talk about more of the symbiotes, to be honest with you. Like,
I think we're gonna have to have a symbiotes episode.
Yeah, I think that's aside from just Venom itself, there's multiple Venoms that we should probably talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at one point, Venom himself becomes like the god of all symbiotes or something like that. I know that. And then after that, Eddie Brock gets much older, much quicker, and he has a son, and then his son ends up taking over as Venom, which actually is a pretty cool storyline too, by the way. But yeah, I had this fascination with Miles Morales having his own Venom, but yeah, when I saw Shift, I was like, okay, Shift looks cool. He looks really cool. And then I read it, and I'm like, he doesn't feel like Venom though.
No, and they don't. They change a little bit. It depends on the wearer, though. That's the thing about it. They choose to be the way they are. And then one of the things in the the Let There Be Carnage is that Carnage know what kind of symbiote is. So he goes out and he's I think what is it? Cabot? No,
He's a red one.
he's not just the red one. He's the murderous kind. So he goes after a lot of the crazed, murderous type individuals, and that's how he started his own army, because he knows what kind of individuals he's wanting to, tap into their deepest desires and stuff like that. Hey, let me just go out there and do this thing. And that's what tends to overpower Miles. And Miles is like, I can't fight all these killers. So that's what happened to him. That's pretty.
I'm just a teenager.
And Miles he's the type of character that doesn't want to really be a superhero, but he has to do what for the greater good in an instance, and he gets that from, Peter Parker. And in another instance, that Peter Parker became he travels to a different multiverse where he meets that Peter Parker that didn't become Spider-Man, and he kind of tipped his hat to him as well too. It's pretty cool. Yeah, they do that. They do that a lot though. And in the Spider-Verse, they go in. It's kind of like a little bit of Strange. He can tap into, or American Chavez. She can go into different multiverses and everything. It's kind of like that. That's how the Spider-Verse really takes its hold when it comes to that.
So does Miles have the ability to just go into a different universe, like American Chavez does?
No, he doesn't. It's not innately speaking of that. It's like somebody from another universe has to really pull him in to say that, hey, we need your help in this situation. And usually it's Peter Parker who's able to traverse through time and everything in that nature, and it depends on the circumstances. But really, he doesn't do it himself. Like Spider-Gwen, she has the ability, I believe, she has the gauntlets that actually allow her to go through portals and everything. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Oh. So it's like her, like her web shooters and stuff like that. She can shoot through portals and everything.
So I'm just going to call it now. This is what we need to do. We need to do a whole special on Into the Spider-Verse. Yes, the movie, but the whole comic series as a prequel on the road to the new the new Spider-Verse movie.
Yes.
I love it. That's great.
See, I'm telling you, this is why I'm on here. This is why I do this. I do this all the time.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So.
Yeah, but then I think also the symbiote discussion. I think that's where they did the different symbiotes that there are, their abilities and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Not just where we were laughing earlier. Oh, that's a red one. Kind of a thing.
Yeah, the movies are trash. I would tell you that Venom movies are trash. I don't like the movies did not do Venom at all. I mean, he really did not do it. I am going to like the comment section.
Where's Mark? Where's Mark in the comment section? Because he's going to be praising you. He hates.
They are really trash, man. They did.
All right, excuse me for where the nice thing about being the host, I can put him in the waiting room. I put him in the waiting room. We're not going to have this discussion here at the end of the show.
I'm out.
Tharen was in timeout.
Oh wow! I was wondering what would trigger it. I was wondering what I would trigger. I thought it was going to be a Batman one, but then again, I hit the right. Okay, I'm gonna have to keep on that one.
Now he's going to step on the nerve. That's what he's going to do.
That's funny. Well, that's all the time we have for today, everybody.
See, I like the movies. I thought the movies were good. I enjoyed them. I like the comedic value of the movies. I thought it was fun.
Yep. All right, everybody. Okay. Well, we do have to wrap up because both Mike and I have events that we are headed to. So, but Tharen, it has been great having you with us, and I look forward to having you with us on the Into the Spider-Verse discussions and also the a discussion on the symbiote. So I think that sounds great. It will be good. So that's whew. Well, I did not realize when we talked about Miles Morales Spider-Man that we would get into all these tangents on all these other things. This has been really good. It's been interesting. So Tharen, thank you so much for your time. It's been great to have you again.
No problem.
When we have Tharen on, he's like a web of information.
I see what you did there. Yeah. Well done.
All right.
All right. Well, that's it for us for today, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us or hanging out with us or watching this after the fact. So thankful that you were here. And Mike, I'll let you sign us out.
All right. With that said, over and out. And with great power comes great responsibility. Thank you for joining us today on the Two Geeks and a Microphone podcast. Tune in next week when we will have more news and reviews. Until then,